this is Shauna Stefanchik from Step Up, and today I wanted to do a quick overview of ideas of how you could audit your current curriculum. So the goal of this session is to really provide ideas on how to efficiently organize your curriculum and to also give you ideas on how to create a guaranteed and viable curriculum that will also support competency-based learning, which will most likely be occurring in the next 2 to 3 years. So why is curriculum important? And I love this visual of people working on the foundation of a building, because curriculum is the foundation. It is the thing. It is the whole reason that we are in our profession, is to ensure that we are teaching and that kids are learning the things that we're supposed to in our field. This is commonly sometimes overlooked and one of the last things that we really dig into. But at our company, we think it is the thing. It is the foundation of all things that schools should be doing, which is why we take so seriously in trying to really help and support schools of making, if anything needs to be right, it's your curriculum. So that leads to the question, what is curriculum? And on the screen here, we have a definition from Robert Marzano, and he says in the guaranteed is the fact that every student is provided the opportunity to learn a core curriculum that provides them with the probability of success in school, meaning college. And in Missouri, the guarantee that we give is our state standards. And I feel like this is one of the biggest misconceptions in the field of education, that we are not taught, or it's not clearly communicated, that the standards from the state are our responsibility legally to provide to students. We commonly think that it's a resource and other things that we're pulling, but really we have a responsibility as Missouri educator to teach those Missouri standards, because that is what Missouri voted on as the thing that's going to cause success in college and success in life for students. So we need to clearly communicate to our educators that this is not just this thing we hope to do. This is the promise that we give to kids in Missouri. And this is the educational equity to make sure that we truly are exposing every kid to those standards. So then comes, what's the viability part? And it says here in its definition that it's ensuring the necessary time is available, that they can actually learn those standards. And in our world, we call those pacing guides or scope and sequences. What are the standards we're supposed to teach, and what is our plan? So curriculum is anchored in standard. It's not resources. We need resources to help us teach those, but it's very much anchored in a guaranteed and viable curriculum would be a pacing guide that shows what are your standards and how are you going to do those. So step one, knowing this information, that we have to be clear in our standards. We also now, out of the pandemic, have priority standards. So we also need to help teachers not only understand what their standards are, but what their priorities are, because we know the state has also said that 80 to 90% of those MAP assessments are going to be over those priority standards. So we want to be crystal clear in our curriculum documents what standards are priorities and what are supporting. So tip one, create a template that clearly shows priority versus supporting. And so on the page here, you have what I have currently seen a lot as a typical curriculum map, where it's got the unit name and the pacing, essential standards, topic, instructional resources, assessment. So the reason I show this here is this is typically a common thing that teachers would see when they walk in, but notice tip one, this would not be following it. It doesn't clearly state for teachers what are the standards. So you can see how this misconception is just magnified when we're even giving teachers documents that don't have the standards out front. Sometimes these standards will have a standard code, and we're also going to suggest to you, you need to have that whole standard written out, and you need to always distinguish between people, what's priority and what's supporting. So we really want to move away, not that these templates aren't important and can't be linked another way, but this would be a good non-example because it's not clearly showing priority versus supporting. Oh, well, maybe I should go further. So here you can see in this template later, it has the priority and here's some codes, but I want to show you again that when you think about, does this document really help clarify for teachers what those standards are? No. And so what we would say is, even though you have the codes on there, that we need to be even more explicit with teachers about what those standards really are. And we would type those out and probably put those in a different format. So tip 2, again, here's kind of a common template that you have here, but when you look at it from the eyes of a teacher, or if you use something like this, is it really popping out to you? What are the key things I'm supposed to be mastering? I've got all these codes, but as a new teacher, would this type of template be helpful? And I would say no, because usually these pages lie within a great big binder, and teachers are still going to other resources and teacher pay teacher because this isn't really making sense to them. So tip 2 is we want to make a friendly landing page for people that kind of organizes this information. So this could be as simple as taking those codes, writing them out, and saying RF2AA is about identifying spoken words and sounds. And so then you double click on this and it might say, so here's some assessments you could use and some vocabulary. But you can see, again, this is a typical standard tab, and it's really not giving us the overview or the information and clarity and standards that we need to. So we need to think about a user-friendly page. Here would be an example of a template that we would suggest when it comes to a landing page. We have found that Google Sheets and Google Docs are a great place. People are already familiar with using them. So you're not having to go in and use another software or pay a reoccurring fee. Simplicity is key for teachers. We don't want to make it arduous. We want to create things that are on one page and not a million folders. So you can see at the top of this document, we have key things from the DESE website. You could type the course. Here's all the key things that you would need from the course. So it goes right to that DESE website. And within each unit, we want them to know about how long it would take. Here's your assessment. It could hyperlink to a unit plan, which might be those templates you saw on the previous screen. But we want every teacher to clearly know in every unit, what are your priorities? The pink, it's written in student-friendly language. We would recommend that you do that because with competency-based learning coming down the road, you're going to need student scales as well as teacher scales. So we are proposing to you to create a template similar to this that would house both of those tools. So you're not redoing things in 3 years. Your teachers can clearly see it under priority standard, that standard is going to be written out with the code and it's already written out. And then the supporting standard code, standard written out. So underneath that, you can have important links or resources like in that other document, or again, you could hyperlink documents that teachers are used to using. But the point is, for a guaranteed and viable curriculum, they need a pacing guide that looks like, sounds like this, that makes it crystal clear. What are my priorities in supporting within every unit? And then what's my pacing and my assessment to get there? So tip 3, if you are using a resource, you can see we then have this template to the side. We would suggest that you use that resource to guide the pacing of the standards. Look inside that resource and find what priority and supporting standards lie within that resource and help your teachers see the connection between the two. What they will find is that their resource will leave out some of the standards and that there are certain lessons that they can leave out. But we're wanting teachers to help see the connection. Don't do your standards and then make your resource hit the pacing of your standards, because your resource was very much written in a way that it builds upon itself. You can't do a lesson out of Unit 6 the beginning of the year. That resource isn't written that way. So you do need to honor the pacing, but you can help teachers reconcile the two by showing them how standards live in their resource and how the two talk. So we recommend that because it really helps teachers concrete that. And tip 4, as we know, curriculum can take tons of time, but you have to think strategically of how you're going to give your teachers time to actually engage in this work. And a quick plug, if you're wanting to do this work and you want innovative, we can get this work done for your teachers really quickly because we have these templates already created. But here's how you fast track it. You give them a tab that already has their standards listed and they're already color coded. as priority and supporting. So then your teachers just have to copy and paste and plug them in. And ours are also already linked to proficiency scales as well, which you're going to need. Now, again, I've tried to show you in the steps previous to this that you could do that on your own, but I just want to show you that we do have these things if you're a smaller district or just someone who thinks, man, if I just had those tools, that could help fast track it. This process does fast track it. We can get, the longest I've seen somebody take is 2 hours, but 45 minutes to 2 hours to create pacing guides for math, social studies, science. ELA takes a bit longer because there's more coaching in that to think about mastery, but this would just be a way that you could use these templates and copy and paste over if you wanted that support. So that is the end of my presentation. Just some quick little tips to audit. Simplicity and clarity is key, but please make sure to communicate to your teachers that standards are the thing and our responsibility. And so our curriculum pacing guides need to definitely represent that. Thanks and have a great day.